gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning, CaneSport. It's September the 14th, 2022. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, joined as always by our managing editor, Matt Shodell, as we discuss the news of the day, presented by Life Wallet, where the time is now to take charge of your personal health. And the time is not now yet, Matt Shodell, for Texas A&M in Miami. The time will be Saturday at 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central at College Station. But obviously, the way that Miami played last week, combined with Texas A&M's loss, combined with the fact that game day has decided not to go to College Station, seems to have put a little bit of a damper, maybe would be the word, on the buildup for this game, and not a lot of trash talk or anything like that. Both teams seem very focused to me on themselves. I mentioned yesterday, I think on yesterday's Good Morning CaneSport, how Miami was barely a topic of conversation out there in College Station. Well, I'm seeing a lot of the same here at Miami, both in our conversations with the players, listening to the press conferences and stuff. A lot of focus by both teams on improving from within. I mean, they'll have scout teams, they'll have game plans, no doubt about it. But both teams, Matt, seem to feel that if they could just make themselves better, they will be in a good place on Saturday night. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting because there are so many questions that I want answered, from whether these coaches have been using vanilla on purpose because they have an amazing offense that they're just waiting to unveil, and they were just trying to throw Matt Shodell under the bus by running it 80% of the time in the second half last game, whether the receivers are actually amazing. You know, there's so much misdirection in college football, so much mistrust, and you don't really know who to believe. But we're going to find out a lot of answers on Saturday. It doesn't matter that Texas A&M lost to App State. We're going to learn if Kevin Steele really is going to use every single defensive lineman on the roster. We're going to learn if Tyler Van Dyke, there's a question mark now about whether Tyler Van Dyke has taken a step backward in the Josh Gaddis offense. A reporter literally asked Tyler Van Dyke yesterday, are you comfortable in the Josh Gaddis offense? That's basically what he asked Tyler Van Dyke, couching it slightly. But that's what he asked Tyler Van Dyke. Like, that's a crazy question, right? To be asking after two games
into the season, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so there's a lot of questions out there that reporters have that need to be answered. And Tyler said that he had some mechanical issues with his feet, which is a little strange because they hadn't cropped up that I had seen previously.
Never had mechanical issues.
What's that?
He's never had mechanical issues.
No, I don't understand that.
Yeah.
So, I assume they'll be fixed. It was super weird to hear him say that he had to work on mechanics because he's such a student of the game. So that was a little weird. But can Miami run the ball? Is the offensive line for real? Yeah, App State ran the ball. Like, again, I want to see what Miami does. Everyone's hung up on what App State did. Do what App State did. Do what App State did. I want to see what Miami does. I'm really excited for this game because, to me, this is the season opener. We're going to learn everything we need to know based on whether Miami plays well against Texas A&M or doesn't play well. I think they'll play well. I really do. I think they're going to come out, and Tyler Van Dyke hinted at it. Tyler Van Dyke literally told us yesterday that they're dialing up new, what did he say? He said
new schemes,
new concepts that he has to learn just for this game. I'm a little surprised they hadn't already put it in over the summer that they taught him, but I guess they saw some stuff in the App State.
Saw some stuff in the tape, yeah.
What that tells you, it says, hey, they found stuff in that App State tape that they now want to implement in the passing game. I assume. And Tyler said, we're gonna see these new things that they've put in. So I'm very excited because we're gonna learn if Josh Gaddis is the real deal, which everyone thinks he is. I don't see why he wouldn't be, but we're gonna find out. It's just, There's so many things that will be answered. Is the Miami secondary really a weakness? Every level, can the defensive line get tons of pressure? I mean, every level that you want an answer to, this is the game where you get that answer.
Yeah, I mean, people keep asking me a lot of questions about what do I expect? What do I think is going to happen? I've been getting a million phone calls about it and stuff. And like, I'm honest with everybody, which is like, I have no idea what to expect in this game on Saturday. We have no idea what Miami can do, what it can't do, what its strengths are, what its weaknesses are. Everything is guesswork. It's like, it's no different than the preseason. We've played 2 games. We have learned nothing in 2 games other than that they can run the ball fairly decently against average to below average competition. We've gleaned that. Okay. And Matt Shodell only wants to win throwing the football. I mean, we've learned
that's not true.
Well,
I never
we argued about it for 2 days. We don't have to argue about it today. But you are not alone. I know you're not alone. I mean, there is something about throwing the football that it gets people lathered up, man. I got to be careful with my analogies here, but it gets people fired up. How about that? And for some reason, running the football doesn't do the same for the football fan. It's not just Canes fans. It's everybody fans. But there is a place for running the football. Look at what's happened to Georgia Tech since they stopped running the football and stopped trying to be like and started trying to be like everybody else. They can't win. They can't win games. They're like fish out of water. They can't recruit the personnel to execute that type of scheme fast enough. I think that to me, what's important is winning, and you do what you have to do to win. Now, I talked about this a little bit on CaneSport Live last night, and like, I don't think you can assume that just because Appalachian State beat Texas A&M with ball control and predominantly running the football, that's what Miami is going to do on Saturday, has to do on Saturday. That's a weak point for Texas A&M. I think those are all very broad assumptions, which goes along the line, Matt, of what we were just talking about in not really having an idea what to expect from either team in this game.
Yeah. I mean, again, that goes back to what I was saying. It's a lot of mystery still because fans like to say vanilla. And this is the other thing that confounds me is you can still not show Texas A&M anything by making adjustments against Southern Miss. People act like you're not showing a single route tree, like you're just going to run the ball up the middle every time. That's vanilla. You're showing something. You're just not showing what you're going to do against Texas A&M. And Southern Miss and Texas A&M have totally different defensive schemes. So they could have made an adjustment at halftime and did some different things to that defense if they wanted to, but they decided that they knew they could run the ball, and they did, which is fine. And the reason people like myself just wanted to see we don't want Miami to win passing, okay? I prefer Miami wins the game running the ball because if you're a run-first offense, you have a passing game.
Now you're either lying or flip-flopping. You ranted away for 2 days.
You keep putting words in my mouth.
It bothered you that they won the game running the other day.
You keep putting words in my mouth. And the reason, if you actually listen to what I was saying, it was that I wanted them to be a balanced offense. I said it 10 times, Gary, balanced offense. That means if they were throwing the ball every time, I would have had a problem with that too.
They threw for 253.
Yeah. In the second half,
they threw at 180.
Right. So why in the second half did they say, we're giving up on the passing game? So all I was saying was have a balanced offense because that's what you need to do against Texas A&M. You're not going to beat Texas A&M only throwing the ball. I don't want them to only throw the ball, and I don't want them to only run the ball. And I said it 10 times the last 2 days, but you just don't want to hear it. You just want to label me as I only pass the ball, so whatever.
Listen, I think they made great adjustments Saturday. I think they got out with a 23-point victory. I think they were having a lot of problems in the first half with what Southern Miss was doing.
Do you know what their adjustments were? What were the adjustments that the coordinator told you they made on offense, Gary? Tell me. What were they? What was the big adjustment?
The adjustment was our offensive line is a mess. Our quarterback is having a hard time reading the coverages. He's holding the ball too long. He's throwing the ball late. We're putting it in harm's way. We're subjecting ourselves to possible interceptions. we can beat the crap out of this team if we just run the ball.
Correct.
Let's run the ball and let's get the hell out of here and worry about next week.
Right. That's play calling. There was no adjustment. Literally, the player said we didn't make any adjustment, and Josh Gaddis said I didn't make any adjustments. I just told them relax, and he just started run because he knew they could run the ball all day. They went into that game saying let's practice our actual offense. Let's get things going, running and passing. And they said, you know what, we can't pass it very well. Let's run it, which is fine. But you can't do that against great teams.
But the funny thing is, like, we know it wasn't going well, and they still threw for 253. I mean, that's like, which is kind of crazy. We're sitting here saying, hey, what's wrong with the passing game? The receivers aren't, getting enough targets, blah, 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 blah. Will Mallory hasn't done a damn thing this year. Arroyo's done very little. We haven't thrown the ball to Jalen Knighton hasn't gotten the pass out of the backfield. We can go on and on and on and on and on about, like, where the heck is the passing offense? But they still threw for 253.
The tight ends are going to explode this week, and that's what they've been saving. I mean, I'm not revealing any secrets. Those tight ends, I think they will combine as a unit. If somebody said 80 yards as a unit, I'd take the over. Let me put it that way for this coming weekend.
I totally agree. I think this is going to be a big Mallory and Arroyo week. I think this is going to be I think this will be Jalen Knighton's coming out party for the season. I think we're going to see a lot of him in different.
I think if Parrish and Franklin aren't playing 2/3 of the reps, I'd be surprised. They've been so good. But, I haven't seen enough of Knighton to know that he's really what he was. If he's full go and like everything's great, okay. But those two guys have been really, really good.
I think they'll continue using those two guys. I think we're going to see Knighton in the passing game was what I was alluding to.
Yeah. Although he had a horrible drop. I think he was 36% graded out.
I don't know what the heck happened on that play. Oof.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
That was pretty ugly. But anyway, so
he's rusty. He hasn't played in a while,
So like, we're what, 3.5 days away from the game now, and we have no clue what to. It's interesting. You look at the line going back and forth and stuff, and just try to figure out this game. And because Texas A&M has been so different than what they were expected to be, it's just very, very, very difficult. And then Miami has yet to really lay it all out there on the table. What Miami is, what Miami's going to do. It's all a mystery. So it's a really intriguing game. It really, really is. It's a shame that game day bowed out because I think it is a very intriguing game. And I'm looking forward to the road trip. I will be there. If any of you guys are in the stands early, make sure you say hello. Looking forward to seeing a bunch of you guys up there, and it's gonna be fun. Looking forward to it. All right. So how all this applies specifically to the news of the day is we continue to keep taking closer looks at just what the Texas A&M challenge will be for the Canes, and we take a further peek under the hood today. So make sure that you check out that story. We spoke to Tyler Van Dyke, James Williams, Xavier Restrepo about the challenges of this coming weekend. You don't want to miss those stories for sure. Let's see. We will be speaking to Mario Cristobal later this morning, so we'll have that on the website around midday. So make sure you check that out as well.
Let's do our predictions, Gary. Who wins the game? What's the score? On the record. Let's get it going.
I don't want to make a prediction.
Oh boy, that means Gary's picking Texas A&M. Everybody.
No, it's that, like, I just don't know. I mean, I don't have a prediction.
This is your job.
I don't have a prediction.
Okay.
I mean, when you look before the season, you're saying top 10 team on the road. Miami has not played well in these types of games for a long time. It will be a win if Miami is in the game in the fourth quarter. That's what I'm thinking a month ago.
Okay. I make my predictions like recruit predictions. I put a percentage next to them. I think that there's a 40% chance that Miami scores over 28 points. Okay. And I think there's an 85% chance that if they score more than 28 points, they will win. You guys can do the math and figure out if I think they're going to win or not based on that, and let me know on the YouTube message boards.
Yeah, I'm not trying to evade it. I honestly, I don't have an opinion. I mean, I know, and I'm usually pretty opinionated. I mean, I do not have an opinion on this game.
No, listen. I as a fan, if you're a fan, you should go into this game hoping for a win, but it's been 20 years. Okay, so as long as Miami shows that fight, as long as Miami can stay in the game and not be blown out in the first half, like at an Alabama or even a North Carolina, we've seen this happen so many times, it's very disheartening. So if they just can show that fight, if they can avoid penalties in a really hostile environment on the road when they're all amped up, if they can just show they can move the ball on offense, if they can show they can get some stops on defense and some big plays, if they show excitement, real excitement, not players being told on the sidelines to jump up and down and do jumping jacks for their team, like real excitement that Mario Cristobal has embedded in this team, that's what I want to see. It's okay if they lose this game. To me, it's okay because, again, I look at the big picture. I look 2 to 4 years down the road when I expect them to be in the playoffs. I don't expect them in the playoffs this year, but I want to see that steady progression, and I want to see where the bar is set right now with 9 months under Mario Cristobal and the new staff. Where is the bar set? We'll find out. Texas A&M is still one of the better programs in the SEC, regardless of the loss. So you're setting a bar against, here's Miami, and here's a better program in the SEC, and is one above the other right now. Is Miami close to one of the better programs in the SEC? Is Miami above one of the better programs in the SEC that's amped up and been preparing for this game forever, unlike App State, which upset them? That's really big picture what we're going to find out. And, I think Miami, 48% chance of winning, but I just want it to be close. I want it to be competitive. I want to see the fight. And if Miami can pull it out at the end on a field goal in the last minute, whatever, I don't care. If the ball bounces the right way 3 times to Miami and they win because of it, great. And then you see how they respond. That's the other big thing. Everyone's just focused on this game. Win or lose, we've seen in the past a carryover effect when they win a big game or when they lose a big game. The next game, they don't seem right. So, I know fans don't want to look ahead, but that's sort of what I do because I'm weird. I want to see the next game too, because that's when you have the culture. You can be prepared for this game and play great. And then the next game, the culture is that's when it kicks in. You're playing Middle Tennessee. Are they killing Middle Tennessee, or are they just half-assing it, so to speak? Like they did the first half, honestly, last weekend, where they didn't seem to have it all together. And they weren't, there was players told us we didn't have the energy. That shouldn't happen. So we'll find out a lot, not just this game, but then the next game when there's a huge letdown game before the ACC starts. So we're going to learn the next 2 weeks so much about this team. I'm very excited for it.
Here's my dilemma. You're calling Texas A&M one of the best teams in the ACC.
No, I said one of the better programs. I said one of the better programs. I didn't say best teams.
Okay.
Better programs.
All right, I hear you. But I don't have a feel that they're really that good. Like, they have not been that good.
They're not bottom half in the SEC. I'm sorry.
Well, we don't know that yet. We don't know that.
Come on.
You
look at who they recruited.
They have played like
Miami, Alabama. Look at the roster. just talent-wise, they're top 5. And I'm saying top half.
But it's young talent. It's young talent.
Yeah.
And they have played like a second-tier SEC team so far this year. They have not played like a top-tier SEC team. So the question is, does a top-tier SEC team suddenly show up on Saturday? If it does, obviously it gets a lot tougher for Miami to win the game. If Texas A&M at the level that it's been weeks 1 and 2 shows up Saturday, I think Miami will be the better team on the field, and then just will have to execute. So that's my dilemma. I don't know what Texas A&M is. What are we facing on Saturday? I have no idea. Are we facing an ant, or are we facing a monster? I have no idea. Now, I will say this. I do not think that Miami is going to be able to go up there and ground and pound. I think that Texas A&M is going to put a big focus on run defense, and has been this week. I think they're going to see that Miami likes to run the ball. And I think, number one, they are going to look to shut down Henry Parrish, and they are going to say, we want to make Miami try to beat us throwing the ball into our secondary, which we feel is one of the best secondaries in the SEC. And we don't think that they have the wide receivers to do it. And we are going to make them do it. That is what I think is going to happen Saturday.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt. And the other thing that I don't know why this bothers me. call this my DNR if you want, because it is a D. And the whole show's a DNR for me usually, but this is a real DNR. So Mario Cristobal played at Miami. Mario Cristobal went to high school in Miami. Mario Cristobal knows what it was like here when Miami was a championship team. And it just seems like the world has turned upside down in a sense. And what I'm referring to is how it's so frustrating to me when players at Miami say it's just another game, it's a business trip. No, it's not, bro. And it's okay to say it's not. It's okay to say this is where we make our stand. Because you remember last year when Tyler Van Dyke accidentally said how they were going to win and they were going to be, whatever. They're going to be amazing and beat whatever team it was. I don't remember anymore. But he said something and he didn't realize what he said. And the whole team stood up and said, we've got your back. And they kicked butt in that game. Was it Michigan State? Whatever. Not Michigan State, obviously. Whatever game it was. I think it was Tyler's first 2 games weren't great. It was the third game, whoever that third game he started was. But anyway, what's wrong with that? Clinton Portis used to stand up in front of the media at the availabilities and predict how many yards he would get against Florida State. And it was, guess what? It was over 200 yards rushing he was going to get against Florida State. He would say that. They would say, we're going to win the national championship. They would say, yeah, we're going to beat this team. They weren't scared to make a prediction about what they were going to do. They weren't saying, Alabama's just another game. Texas A&M, business trip, whatever. We just have to focus on each play. Like, come on, man. This is where Miami can differentiate itself, not just to fans and make Miami fans different than other fans, but to recruits. We could be the only program in the country where we are not scared anymore to say, we are going to go up and kick Texas A&M's butt, and we're going to do it and win by 30. Why can't we say that? Why? What's so hard about that? Why do we have to say, I don't know what's going to happen. We'll just try our best. We'll take it one play at a time, and we're just hoping it works out okay. I'm sick of that, man. Like, I know they do it at every program in the country. They don't want bulletin board material, but I just want to have some fun in college football again, because it was great back in those days when they would just predict, of course we're going to beat Florida State. Are you kidding me? We're going to kill them. Like, what's wrong with saying it? Just freaking say it, and then your teammates will have a little more juice to back you up. Am I wrong, Gary? Like, does it not annoy you how players act nowadays and talk to us nowadays? Just say what the truth is. They think they're going to win, and they think
they know the truth.
So say it.
We don't know the truth. I don't know if they know the truth.
They don't think they're going to lose. They're not going up there thinking they're going to lose.
No, they're definitely not. No, but things are going to have to emerge in this game that have not yet emerged, and we don't know if they can, and that's why.
This is ridiculous. We're the Miami Hurricanes, Gary. Stop acting like you're from some podunk program. The Miami Hurricanes have always had that edge. Always. This is what they do. This is called swagger. They invented swagger, and now there's no swagger.
They haven't beaten anybody since 2017.
People say, what's swagger? Swagger is talking and then backing it up. But they don't do the talking anymore.
Because they don't have the confidence yet. They haven't beaten anybody since 2017. They shouldn't be running their mouths. You have to go do it on the field first.
Wow. You've just given up, Gary.
Not giving up at all. I'm as bullish as anybody on this program.
Put your mouth where your actions are.
I am bullish as anybody on this program. That doesn't mean I think that they are close at this point. I don't feel they are. They need a leader. Like Ed Reed would stand up and he would tell you how much they're going to win by. Like, he didn't care, man. That's what I want. That's what I want. You got to have Ed Reed type players to do that.
Well, guess what? You just hit the nail on the head. That's what I want them to have. That's what I want them to have. They need that.
They don't have close to that yet. And that's why you just don't know. Like, anything goes on Saturday night. All right. We'll keep talking about this game, obviously, over the next couple of days. We've got a few more stories to talk about for tomorrow. But first, let's hear from our friends at LifeWallet.
Hey sis, want to play one-on-one? What about 3-on-3? Let's do it. You're not Haley. Wait a minute.
LifeWallet user not detected.
I knew it.
Secure your health information and privacy with LifeWallet. LifeWallet. Saving time, saving lives.
Still think that's the best NIL commercial that's been made so far.
Listen, it's better than having a basketball player have a heart attack and then go to heaven and talk about his life wallet in heaven. Okay, I'll give you that.
All right. Let's see. We got some recruiting stories on the website today. The first is with Robbie Washington, a committee who talks about the importance of Miami winning this weekend to help on the recruiting trail. If you missed our feature from a few days ago, we got the predictions of well over 30 recruits.
30. We have over 40.
Yeah.
And by the way, Robbie says if Miami wins this, he thinks they get 3 new commitments. So stay tuned. Maybe they can pull this out.
Yeah, this is a big game for Miami.
Oh,
huge. I agree. We also have an update with a top 2024 target, Dylan Stevenson. He was on hand at the Canes game Saturday, and he shares where things stand in his recruitment. Azubi Charles spent some time this week with Hakeem Williams. We had that story on the website. And then we'll have another one probably, I think, by tomorrow. Azubi also walked 100 yards with Hakeem, and they talk about all kinds of cool stuff. But I believe that we're going to probably run that tomorrow. But for now, you got a story on Hakeem and talking about his trip to Texas A&M this weekend. Texas A&M has been believed to be the leader for some time there, but if you read the story, you will find out that FSU and Pitt are also right there in it. Miami is trying to hang on. Right now, I don't know, Matt, that Miami's in a great place with Hakeem Williams, but I do believe there's a long way to go in that recruitment before all is said and done.
Yeah, I honestly think FSU might be the slight leader. He's going to announce, and it won't be over. You know, he's one of those recruits. Every year, there's a handful of Miami targets that commit and change their minds, and you just don't know on signing day. He's going to make his little commitment, and then he's going to have a signing day announcement. That's my personal belief, and we're going to see what happens.
Yeah. It sounds like the way it might go. For those of you that are into basketball, the basketball schedule is out. We've got a story on that. You could make your plans to go to a bunch of those ACC games this season. There'll be some good ones on campus, so you can start checking that out as well. All right, I think that's going to do it for Good Morning CaneSport today. Like I said, later on this morning, we will have more with Mario Cristobal as the Texas A&M game draws closer. We thank you guys so much for watching this show. Hit your subscribe button, hit your like button. It helps us with YouTube. Make sure you have your subscriptions to CaneSport.com. The message boards are going to be lit up on Saturday night. We
should split the message board up by time, like do 10-minute increments. You know, here's what happened between 9 and 9:10 p.m., 9:10 and 9:20 p.m. We should just create like 50 different message boards so people can actually see. Because they disappear after, it runs through the whole screen after 15 minutes.
I know, somebody actually sent me a note about that today. They said, why don't you guys create a separate message board for game day?
Well, it's the same thing because game day, it's just all game day threads.
Yeah.
There's only people are posting about the basketball team during the football game. I mean, they're all what people are seeing.
But they were concerned that the ongoing discussion threads get buried by all the game conversation, and it does. Yeah. But but the discussions also typically change after a game. So, there's no harm in that. But if you're not yet a subscriber to CaneSport.com, we're still offering that $1 introductory annual special for you to come and become part of our community, become part of our site. Go to CaneSport.com, sign up. We really appreciate it. Your subscriptions allow us to do all of the things that we do 365 days a year.
Yeah, and you know why I love the game days, Gary? Is because those message boards get so long that it makes all the Matt Shodell's a moron threads filter like 4 or 5 pages down.
Nobody ever sees them again.
It's great. That's why I like game day. Forget the game. I just like the Matt Shodell's an idiot threads that are now gone. That's all I care about.
All right, so for Matt Shodell, I'm Gary Ferman. Thank you so much for joining us today on Good Morning CaneSport. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody.